Good afternoon. Let's start with a few quick announcements. As you all know, the President will host on April 12th and 13th the Nuclear Security Summit at the Washington Convention Center here in D.C. Wanted to list for you all a couple of different things. First, the 47 countries, including the United States, that will participate in the summit. They include Algeria, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Chile, China, the Czech Republic, Egypt, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, India, Indonesia, Israel, Italy, Japan, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Morocco, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, Norway, Pakistan, Philippines, Poland, the Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Switzerland, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, Thailand, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, Ukraine, and Vietnam. The United Nations, the IAEA, and the European Union will also be represented. As part of the Nuclear Security Summit, the President is currently planning to host a number of bilateral meetings. Those include President Serzin of Armenia, President Hu Jintao of China, Chancellor Merkel of Germany, Prime Minister Singh of India, King Abdullah II of Jordan, Prime Minister Najib of Malaysia, Prime Minister Gilani of Pakistan, President Zuma of South Africa, and President Nazarbayev of Kazakhstan. In addition to the President's activities this evening, at the White House, the President will host a screening of the documentary film Nuclear Tipping Point, a film which focuses on today's global nuclear dangers. The screening will be attended by 4 distinguished statesmen featured in the documentary: former Secretaries of State George Shultz and Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of Defense William Perry, and former Senator Sam Nunn, as well as film narrator Michael Douglas and General Colin Powell, who provides a prologue to the film. In the film, Shultz, Perry, Kissinger, and Nunn share the personal experiences that led them to write 3 Wall Street Journal opinion editorials describing their efforts to reduce reliance on nuclear weapons and to prevent their spread into the potentially dangerous hands and ultimately end them as a threat to the world.
What time was that?
That is, I want to say 6:30, but I will double check.
It's Prime Minister Giuliani, Robert, not President
Uh,
of Pakistan.
Hold on, let me see if I was wrong or they had it written wrong for me. They had it as Prime Minister. I will admonish said note takers and I regret the error. With that, I think we're done with our previously scheduled announcements. Yes, ma'am.
Any coverage on that event tonight?
A couple questions on the mine explosion.
Yes.
The President said that federal resources are already going down there. Have there been any federal resources that have gone to West Virginia so far?
The Department of Labor's Mine Safety Division and FEMA both have dispatch teams. They are there. The President, as you know, spoke with Governor Manchin last evening, pledged our full support and cooperation in the investigation, and that is obviously currently ongoing.
And this mine seems to have a pretty significant history of safety problems. Is the President considering any review or overhaul of federal oversight over the mines?
Well, look, I think first and foremost, obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the families who have lost loved ones, and for those that continue to pray for a miracle for those that are missing. So I think rescue and recovery is our first in our mind right now. Secondly, we want to see obviously a thorough investigation, as you've heard the governor and others discuss. The President, as I said, has pledged his full cooperation and resources for that investigation. And I think legislative plans about that might better be addressed at the conclusion of that investigation when we have a few more details about what might have happened.
Are there any plans for the president to go to West Virginia?
Not at this point, no. Yes, sir.
Robert, two questions, one on the nuclear posture review and one on the weekend announcement about currency. Starting with currency, after having put off this report, what are the next steps that the administration will take at the G20 or in other fora to press China to move its currency?
Well, Jeff, obviously, as we've mentioned many times, the president has spoken directly with the leaders in China about his concern and his desire to see a currency that's more market-based. There are 3 important meetings coming up: finance ministers with the G20, our yearly dialogue with the Chinese here, being 2 of those at which the administration will continue to press the Chinese to, as the president has said, value their currency in a way that's much more market-based. That's the way we think is best at this point, and I think you've seen reports over the past week or so about the Chinese beginning to take some steps and realize on their own that this is the best path forward.
Will you be pressing India or Japan or any other countries in the G20 to get this particular issue on the agenda for the G20?
Well, I think there's no doubt this is of great concern to a number of economies around the world. I think the best thing to do is let Secretary Geithner and others work through this process in these upcoming meetings and evaluate where we are.
And then once that 3-month period is over, you come back to this report?
I don't know the exact timing at the end of that, at the end of the meeting period, but you can certainly check with Treasury on that.
All right, and then just quickly on the nuclear posture review, what is your response to criticism from some who are saying that this makes the United States less safe by taking a big possibility of nuclear deterrent off the table?
Well, look, I think this is, first of all, I'm not entirely sure what nuclear deterrent it takes off the table. The document obviously contains no assurance for a country that currently possesses a nuclear weapon, or for a country that fails to live up to, sign the NPT or live up to its obligations, which obviously the 2 biggest examples of that are Iran and North Korea. So I think this is and the president believes, a very logical policy intended to, in many ways, help bring security not just here but to other countries that have live up to their obligations and give up, if they have programs, nuclear weapons. If not, they're going to make themselves less secure. So I think this is an important and balanced step, and this is the beginning, as you've heard the president discuss, of now more than a week of events that start with the nuclear posture review. The president travels tomorrow evening to Prague to sign with President Medvedev the next START treaty. And then we return here to focus, as I mentioned, with 46 other countries on locking down any vulnerable nuclear material over the course of the next 4 years to ensure that we are not faced with that kind of material falling into the hands of a terrorist organization. Yes, sir. No.
The Nuclear Security Summit, what were the criterion for invitations? Obviously, most of those countries are not nuclear powers. And is every country sending their head of state?
Not necessarily, no. I don't have specific who's going to be here for each country. For instance, I know that Prime Minister Brown is called an election in the United Kingdom, and because of that, and I think upcoming debates is not going to be somebody who will be attending. Let me, as we get closer to, we'll do a longer briefing on this. We'll have a better sense of attendees for each of the countries involved, and more information on what the president hopes to speak to each of the countries directly about as part of the bilateral meetings that I said are currently planned.
Okay, I want to read you a quote and get your reaction. Our nuclear arsenal helps deter enemies from using chemical and biological weapons. In the first Gulf War, we made it very clear that if Saddam used chemical or biological weapons, then the United States would keep all options on the table. We later learned that this veiled threat had the intended deterrent effect as Iraq considered its options. That was Secretary Gates 2 years ago. He now disagrees with that?
Well, I would,